Welcome to Mindfulness Lists. Chapter 4 of A New Earth by Eckhart Tolle. This section of the book is called Role-Playing, the Many Faces of the Ego. And the next section is called Villain, Victim, Lover. Sounds like it could be a song. So we'll talk about the first section first. Sounds good. Role-Playing, the Many Faces of the Ego. Here's what Eckhart has to say about it. An ego that wants something from another, and what ego doesn't, will usually play some kind of role to get its needs met. Be they material gain, a sense of power, superiority, or specialness, or some kind of gratification, be it physical or psychological. Role-playing takes a lot of energy. Think about it. Think about when you were in school, maybe grade school, maybe high school, maybe college even. And how during those times there's a lot of cliques is what they call them. And obviously people role play because they feel that they're not good enough as they are. I'm not good enough as I am, so I need to I need to play some type of role. I need to be Mr. Funny, or I need to be Mr. Smart, or I need to be Mr. Rebel, or I need to be Mr. Yes. All of these roles, we do them for acceptance, and we do them to get what we want. You know, be in the cool crowd, or get something from another person, find a partner, you know, all different types of stuff. Just playing these different roles, which is draining. And then at the same time being manipulative, you know, not just being honest and going about things in a straightforward kind of manner and just being truthful with a person. We can't be too painfully honest. You can't just, you've got to kind of play the game, getting into a relationship, or, you know, sometimes telling white lies in order not to hurt a person. You know, you're friends with the person and, they might say, how does this hat look on me? And you don't want to say, well, your head's kind of fat, but the hat's really cool. You know what I mean. Eckhart Tolle says, a shy person who is afraid of the attention of others is not free of ego, but has an ambivalent ego that both wants and fears attention from others. The fear is that the attention may take the form of disapproval or criticism, that is to say, something that diminishes the sense of self rather than enhances it. So the shy person's fear of attention is greater than his or her need of attention. That's quite a conundrum. If you want attention, yet you're so afraid that by doing something you're going to mess it up and then you'll be embarrassed by what you do. I guess just being able to look stupid, to be a clown, you know, to fall down and to get back up, that could remedy it. You know, just taking chances and realizing that this moment is the only chance that you really have to get what you want. And if you want to do it, if you want to go for that job, or you want to ask a person out on a date, or you want to voice your honest opinion about something and you're afraid that you'll be made fun of or criticized. Right now, it's the only moment that you have for change in your life. You can't work for change. You know, you could plant seeds that'll change in the future. You know, some things don't happen automatically, but you can't change anything in the past. You can only make change right now. Behind every positive self-concept is the hidden fear of not being good enough. Behind every negative self-concept is the hidden desire of being the greatest at reading, or better than others. That part wasn't in there. I was just joking. Behind every negative self-concept is the hidden desire of being the greatest or better than others. So it's this pendulum, or this these opposites. You know, there's people who are really shy and they really They really want to be the best, just like, oh, no, don't, please don't. You're making me blush. And somebody that's really, what's the word? Confident. That's the word. Confident. That's the 3-syllable word I was thinking of. It's a big one. Confident people sometimes are insecure. And, just being aware of that. It's probably not cut and dry. Not every shy person has delusions of grandeur. Not every confident person is a wuss. Just seeing these human conditions. Anyways, role-playing. How much time do you have? You got a lot of time left? You got a lot of time on your hands? Because if you got a lot of time on your hands, you might like to role-play and just mess around. But if you are like me and you feel a little bit in a rush sometimes, or you want to just expedite things, you might just try telling the truth and not beating around the bush and not being afraid that people aren't going to like you, because you are perfect the way you are, and there's room for improvement for you, and there's room for improvement for me, especially with my speech. But life is too short to be sitting around and playing roles and feeling insecure that people aren't going to like you, because you know what? If they don't like you, then you don't need them. There's 7 billion others. Just turn to your left or turn to your right and find the next person and find a new friend, because you don't need people who don't like you as you are. You're fine as you are. The next section is called villain, victim, lover. Some egos, if they cannot get praise or admiration, will settle for other forms of tension and play roles to elicit them. Yeah. Some children already do that too. They misbehave to get attention. Villain, playing the villain, being the bad guy. I used to be a bad guy. I don't know what got me into the bad guy thing. I was getting in some trouble when I was a kid. I guess this is what got me into the thing, and it was just what it says right here. Some children already do that too. They misbehave to get attention. Well, I wasn't trying to get attention. I just really wanted to do the exact opposite of whatever my dad told me to do it and to do. And subsequently, I got in a lot of trouble. I seriously got in a lot of trouble when I was, in my high school years, pretty much. I really was headed down a bad path. And it wasn't about getting attention. It was about being rebellious. So I guess villain, rebel, victim, lover is what I would call this if it were my book. But the next thing that he discusses is another very common role, victim. That was me as well, victim. And that's why this book, just hits home. I guess you just go when you're like about 50 years old, you've been through a lot of self-identity crises, however you say that. And you go through a lot of stuff in your life. And then finally you start to gain some wisdom, and you start feeling better when you do, when you start realizing these human conditions and you're able to see them as they come along. They say consciousness is like a wave, like a radio wave, and consciousness is also like a particle. And when it's in its wave form, you're kind of being conscious of time, past and future and present. And then when it's in its particle, when consciousness is in its particle form, if that's what you call it, you are aware of the present. So those are the different ways you can be conscious of. So when you're conscious of these things, of these human things, you can see them. You could see them in your past, and you could possibly see them in your future if you're planning something out, if you're going to play a role, or if you have some little plans that you're going to try to execute, and you could see what's going on. Am I being a villain? Am I being a victim? Am I being a lover? What's going on? Ooh, Here's what he has to say about lovers. The victim part, it's kind of evident. It says, a very common role is one of the victim. In the form of attention it seeks is sympathy or pity from others, interested in my problems, me and my story. I'm the hurt person. I can't believe that you did that to me. And the only people that like to hear those stories are people who have similar stories to tell. The victim story is just, it's like somebody went out and picked up some dog poop. They got this sack of poop and they just drop it in your ear. And then if you don't have another sack of dog poop to give back to them in their ear, then their sack of dog poop just sits in your ear. I would have put that in the book if I had written this book. But the victim story, the only people who like to hear victim stories are victims. Seems like stuff that teenagers would do. A lot of teenagers come together on things that they don't like. Oh, I don't like those shoes. Oh, I hate those shoes too. It's much more constructive to come together in relationships on things that you like rather than things that you don't like, because that gets old pretty quick. Hating on things, bunch of player haters. So we got the villain, people that want to get attention like Charlie Sheen. We got the victim, people who want to get attention like people on Jerry Springer's show that are just tweaked in their head. And then we have the lovers. Those lovers, you see them walking there. Oh, what do you want? What kind of ice cream should we get? Oh, bubblegum. Oh, I love bubblegum. And that stuff gets really heavy really quick. You get in a relationship and you're upholding this facade. I'll tell you about my personal experience. I've had a few relationships, a few really good ones, maybe 4 or 5 long, good relationships. The last relationship I was in was very good. But what I would see myself doing is I don't know why it is, but I really like to joke, and it's over exaggerated because I would feel like I had to be a joker to lighten things up, just to be a light in this person's life and to make them laugh and lighten up. Life is hard, and I think people perceive love in different ways, and maybe that's what I would want from a person, is someone to tickle me and someone to tell me jokes and someone to, call me funny little cute names. But that's what I would do. That's what I've done in relationships. And I realized that I still like to joke, but I don't need to try that hard. I don't need to be somebody's personal comedian. And I think it's sometimes people don't want that, you're dealing with some stuff, dealing with whatever stuff about your work, and you just want somebody sit there and listen. And you don't want somebody probably to counsel you. You just want somebody to hear it was just a hard day at work. This customer was just relentless, and somebody's not looking for a joke after that. Well, why don't you just hit him on the head with a fish or something like that? I don't know. Just, probably women and men as well. Different interactions. Like when you listen to women speaking to women, they're much more empathetic. You listen to women talking, and women, and they'll say whatever. Oh, it was a hard day, or whatever. We've been going through some stuff, or we're getting the kids back into school. And a woman will say to another woman, oh, I know how you feel. I know, honey. And they're really empathetic and empathetic. They empathize with each other. To whereas men usually are like, Oh, how's it going? Oh, it's going good, The construction project's falling behind. And men will offer solutions. They'll say, oh, yeah, I've had that construction problem before. What you need to do is you need to get this app on your phone and blah, 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 blah. And with your children, you need to blah. And so men want the answers, to whereas women are a lot more empathetic. And what I'm trying to say is upholding these roles, and lover is a very wide term. I love all my friends, whether they're guys or girls or whatever they are. I love them. So there's a lot of different love relationships. You love your friends, and we don't have to, uphold these roles of, playing this little part. Relationships come together on agreements. You see something in another person and they see something in you. And as long as you uphold, the needs of another person. I didn't used to like that word needs. It seemed just kind of needy to me. But you need something. What do you need from another person? What do you need to be my friend? Well, what I need from you for you to be my friend is I need you not to verbally abuse me, and I need you to never physically abuse me. And those are the two things that I definitely need. And I need chocolate chip ice cream on Mondays. I need, hamburger habit on Tuesdays. I need you to bring me a pizza on Wednesdays. And I need these things. And if you don't give them to me, we can't be friends. So those are my needs. But I'm not playing roles there. I'm being honest about it. But you know what I'm talking about. It's kind of fun. You put these little hats on, but when you get too lost in it, we need to play little roles and stuff. You need to be the dad, or you need to be the mom, or you need to be the PTA member, or you need to be the discerning boss, or you need to be the apologetic employee, whatever it is. There's a time for that, but getting too lost in that stuff, it's a pain in the butt. So those are the two first sections of the 4th chapter. Eventually, time is an angel or devil, best friend or worst enemy, great joy, harsh wrath, birth or death.